think that you could use some help on your next speech? Lots of hands. How many of you think that you would be able to help somebody else on their next speech? Fewer hands. Tonight, I'm going to share my experiences as mentee and as a mentor here at Rhino, and some of the things that I've learned in my time here. I first showed up to this club about 4 years ago, and I walked in the door to my first meeting. They gave me a CC manual and a mentor. They said, this is your mentor. He's going to give you advice and feedback for your first 3 speeches. He'll guide you through your first 3 speeches. So a couple of weeks later, I get up, I give my icebreaker speech at Rhino, and after the meeting, my mentor comes up to me, and I'll never forget the first piece of feedback that he gives me. He says, nice speech tonight. That's it. That was probably the only interaction that I had with my mentor in a mentor-mentee capacity. Within the first year of my membership, he left the club, and my skills kind of stagnated. And I always thought that he never really reached out to me, but thinking back on it now, I think I also didn't really reach out to him for help. And as a result, my skills kind of stayed where they were for a long time. But about 3 years ago, things changed. I entered a speaking contest here at Rhino. And I wasn't a very good speaker, but I wanted to win because I'm very competitive. So I asked the person who I admired most in the club to help coach me through my speech. And I want to emphasize that at the time, I didn't know that she was my future wife. I really asked her because I thought she was the best speaker right now. And she said yes. And she looked at my written speech and redlined it. She gave me some comments. She listened to me practice it. And miraculously, she coached me to a victory at my first speech contest at Rhino. And after that, that means that I was going to go on to the next round. And at that point, she gave me the best advice that anybody's ever given me, which was, you should ask some more rhinos for help. So I did. I came up with a list of like 10 of what I thought were the best speakers and evaluators at Rhino. Many of them still in this room, Tim, Ed. And I approached them and I asked, will you help me work on the speech for the next round of the contest? And I thought if I asked 10 of them, I'd get at least one positive response. But I was surprised that all 10 of them were willing to help me out. We would meet an hour before Rhino every week for 6 weeks before the next round of the contest in the little conference room over there. And they would help me write the speech. They would help me work on my performance. And it wasn't just techniques that I could use for this one speech. I was really learning to understand communication the way that they understood it. I was learning to get inside of their heads and see their perspective. And you probably think that it's a very disturbing thought to see the inside of Ed Cressy's head. It is. But what was even more disturbing was that a lot of what he was saying was resonating with me. He told me that the thing that my speech needed the most was for me to scream at the top of my lungs. And I agreed with him. And I did, and it made my speech awesome. Ed taught me how to break out of my comfort zone. And Chris Boehner taught me how to give structure to my speeches, and Tom Gagola taught me how to really emphasize the point, like the thesis message of my speech, and drive it home. And I learned all of these different things from different people. After that, I went on to win another 2 rounds of that contest before I eventually got knocked out at the district level. But from that point on, I noticed something had changed. I'd come to Rhino, and now new members were asking me for help to mentor them. And I felt like this club had given so much to me. In those 6 weeks training with some of the best speakers in the club, I learned more than in my entire first year. And so I felt like I owed a debt to this club, and I was willing to give back out of obligation to do a favor for the new members and help them out. And so I sat down with my first new mentee. Her name was Sativa. And she was a novice speaker, but she was a master of prose and imagery. Just reading her speech would give me a new, deeper understanding for how to use words to paint a picture. And then I would speak with some of my other mentees, and I realized that just the act of trying to teach them something, trying to articulate a concept, would help me have a deeper understanding of that concept. Much like Jeffrey speaking to a rubber duck, I found that as I was speaking to my mentors, my own words could trigger an aha moment, not just in them, but also in me. And then, of course, there was this added benefit of vicariously experiencing their successes, their growth, their development, and all of the great stuff that comes there. And after about 4 years at Rhino, I realized the truth, which is that mentoring is not a favor. It's a relationship. When I ask Ryan to come to a barbecue at my place, I don't think he's doing me a favor by saying yes. He shows up with beer and a good attitude. But it's a give and take, When I asked Stephanie to be my wife, maybe she's doing me a little bit of a favor there. But you can kind of see the point that I'm making, which is when two people sit down to work on a speech together, it's not a matter of one person leeching value off of another person. They're both creating value together. They're building something. They're taking this club, which meets for an hour and a half every week, and they're turning it into something more. They're turning it into a platform where people can develop their communication skills, a platform that extends far beyond these four walls. They're turning it into a community. So, new members, I want to encourage you to reach out to your mentees, and to reach out to people who are not your mentees, but who you think are really good speakers or people who inspire you, and ask them for help. A lot of you raised your hand and said you thought that you needed help on your next speech, but you didn't necessarily think that you could help somebody on your next speech. But I think a lot of you new members can help people on their next speech by being active and engaged mentees. You'll help them by giving them the gift of trusting them to guide you. It'll help them develop their own skills and help you develop yours as well. So please, Rhinos, help us make this a community.